I'm Ceylan. Today I will talk about my adaptation, which is Adıyamanlı Hamit. I adapted it from William Shakespeare play, which is Hamlet. Let me introduce my characters: Hamit, Gülsüm, Oya, Cabbar, and Kazım. Back in the days, there was a glorious family called Celali Aşireti in Adıyaman. This family was known almost by all city. Everyone loved and respected to this family. Each member of this family was charitable, generous, sincere, and kind to their own family, neighbors, and people. This family had two sons, an older one on the head of the family. His name was Kazım, and he was married with Gülsüm. They had a son named as Hamit. Kazım, as the ruler of the Aşiret, was nice and gentle person. Everyone consulted him when they had problems. Almost everyone do not anything without consulting him. He was like king of a country. He and his son Hamit were known by everyone in the city. However, the other brother of family, who is Cabbar, mostly was not around, and no one even knew that he was the other son of the Aşiret. That situation always irritated him, and he got jealous of his brother Kazım. He wanted to be head of the family and rule them. Yet this was impossible while his brother was alive. His ambition made him the murderer of his brother. One day, when two brothers were in the construction sites which belonged to them, he pushed his brother down from the 10th floor and showed this event as an accident. All city and members of Aşiret were in grief. They were very upset about his death. But this event made Hamit and Gülsüm upset more, especially Hamit. He was devastated by his father's death. He could not believe what happened and always kept thinking about accident. He was walking around like a mad and kept telling that life is completely different for me anymore. However, the only problem was not just his emotion and his loss. After his father's death, his uncle came to head of the family and replaced with his brother. And he was not stopping until he get everything of his brother, including his wife. He gathered the Aşiret members and told them about his brother's wife's situation. So, according to Adıyaman and this family tradition, Hamit's mother either should go her father's house or should marry again. But as they were a prestigious family, they could not send him her father's house, and it was also inappropriate marrying another guy. Cabbar told his Aşiret that she cannot leave this family. In order to disrespect his brother, Gülsüm should marry with him, and that is the only solution for this event. Other members did not want this, but they also knew that he's kind of right. So they summoned Gülsüm and Hamit and told the news. Gülsüm predicted her end, so she was not surprised at all. But Hamit was terribly upset and angry. He did not want this at all, and he went to his mother, told her resist these ridiculous traditions. He said if she married with his uncle, he would never forgive her. What is done is done. They got married in 2 weeks. Kazım was satisfied and happy. He got everything that he wants. However, Hamit was like a mad person. He was totally lost himself. At least he had a lover called Oya. They were in love with each other. Oya always was with him and helped him. Yet Oya's confrontation did not work. Hamit was horribly mad at both his uncle and his mother. He always visited his father's grave and spoke with him. Things were changing. One day when Hamit was visiting his father again, and the gravekeeper told him that he heard some voices from his dad's grave. Hamit was so surprised and told him that don't mock with me. However, gravekeeper was serious, and Hamit saw it from his eyes. Hence, Hamit waited beside the grave until the night, but he could not hear anything. Moreover, he was so tired he just fell asleep. After a while, he felt a head on his shoulder and someone was summoning him. He woke up and saw his father. He was speechless. His father told him that, Hamit, I did not die because of an accident. Your uncle Jabbar pushed me and he killed me, and he was my murderer. And son, I want you to get my revenge back. And suddenly Hamit woke up and realized that he had a dream and no one was there. Hamid was so confused and he could not even tell this his lover Oya. He decided to be silent and thought about it in order to find another solution. He wanted to everyone know about the incidents. Anyway, while he was walking and thinking, he saw a crowd around his house. He went there and learned that his relatives will celebrate a circumcision feast of their small cousin, and they want to make some different plays with clowns. At that time, an idea came into Hamid's mind. Hamid went to there and told them that he could prepare a play with clowns, which would be so interesting that every kid, including adults, would love it. They accepted this and appreciated him that he forgot everything and tried to have some fun. Hamid directly went to the Oya and told about the play. Oya accepted to help him and they started to prepare a play, and after a couple of days everything was ready both for his plan and for play. Moreover, Jabbar wanted to make a great fascinating feast for kids, but his intentions were not just for kids. He wanted to impress all his relatives so that everyone would think that he is better than his brother. He and Gülsüm were happy about Hamid because they thought that he was getting better day by day. And this play is a sign of it. Days passed and circumcision feast day come. Halls were full of the people and their all Ashirat members were there. Jabbar was so eager that he could not sit. He bragged about himself how he prepared everything without thinking about their cost. When time came to the Hamid's play, clowns were at the stage and ready to act. When they started to perform the play, everyone was surprised about the theme of play because it was not quite appropriate for kids. Moreover, Hamid's eyes were on his uncle, and Jabbar were sweating and in panic. When he wanted to go to the stage and stop the play, all people felt something weird, and in a minute they all realized that this was an earthquake happening. They all went to the door to go outside, but Hamid already closed the door and for his uncle in case of preventing his uncle escaping. So no one could not escape. An earthquake was so devastating that the building collapsed in a couple of minutes. There were screams of people. Hamid was under the debris and he was on his conscience, but he could not move. He was hearing the screams and that thought hit his mind. He realized that everyone were under the debris because of him. He locked the door, and if he didn't lock the door, then people would have some time to escape. He felt guilty and thought how he became the cause of all his Ashirat's death. After a couple of days, Hamid opened his eyes at hospital. First, he could not understand what's going on, but then he remembered that there was an earthquake. And suddenly he thought about Oya and his mother. He totally forgot them. He was rushing to go outside and find them. However, doctors and some police came and told him that there were only two people alive and all of the people were dead. Hamid was shocked. He asked who is the other person, and wishing that the other person would be Oya. But police said that person was an adult whose name's Jabbar. And they went. Hamid was speechless, confused, and felt dizzy, and he fainted. After a while, he woke up and remembered what happened again. He started to think. He made that play to catch his uncle and locked those doors for preventing his escape. However, everything was upside down. He almost became the cause of all his relatives, including his mother and lover. The most awful thing was existence of his uncle. He was only person that Hamid wanted to die and hate. But now everyone died except for that disgusting person. He said himself, what a terrible, painful and unfair world that he has lived in. He was in suffer. Doctors came and gave him some medicine for sleeping. On the other hand, the situation of Jabbar was also not different from Hamid. He was totally ruined by all those events. He was feeling different feelings. He was questioning his deeds. He kept thinking about the life and existence and told himself that all his done was in vain. His ambition made him blind and he could never see the meaning of life and inevitable end of human beings, which is death. He killed his brother, took his wife for himself, and did many things just for his ambition and power. He asked himself, what is left now? I wanted so desperately to become the head of this Ashir, but now no one is left. Due to them, I had that power, and I was important person. I am nothing but a horrible human who is dying for power. Hence, he knew that right thing to do, which he would go police and confess his crime. If he did this, then at least he could feel better because he could not live like that anymore. He should confess and clean his soul from the dirtiness of this world. At the end of the day, he confessed everything to the police, and after his recovering, he would go to the prison. Hamid was so surprised and when he heard about his uncle, but he was also not caring about it at all. Like his uncle, he also questioned his existence and thought how all people were gone with their uncompleted stories. He knew that he could not live without Oya and he was already devastated. Therefore, his psychology was not good. He could not think straight. He asked himself, to be or not to be? That is the question. After all, he decided to be not in this life and jumped down from his room's window and died. That was the end of the story, our dear readers. This story was not end with happy end, but happy ends are not always happening. We live our lives without knowing that it can be ended in a moment. End of our stories are up to us. How we handle with our problems and despite everything put a smile on our faces. Our traumas and problems will always exist, but they will never be with us until forever. Therefore, it's my humble advice to you. Your pain will make you stronger, but you should give yourself time for it. That is the end of my play. Thank you so much for listening to me.